So you could have bolsters, pillows or anything underneath the knees if you like. You could have the legs outstretched. You could have the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and perhaps the knees coming towards each other for support. And popping an eye pillow on if you wish to. We'll be here for a good 5 minutes. And those of you that like using a sandbag or having a heavy cushion could place that underneath the navel if you wish. Just take time to settle down, to find your space against the ground. The arms in the most comfortable place for them to be this evening, which might be the same as usual, it could be different. And lengthening the neck, tucking that chin in slightly. Spacious and soft in the face. Just run your awareness through the face, easing any tightness that you find anywhere. You've perhaps got an eye covering on. If you don't, then just have those eyes very softly closed. Your shoulders are soft and heavy against the ground. You're releasing into the back of the waist. Your hips are heavy and soft into the ground. Releasing your thighs, no sense of holding in the thighs. Let them soften. The soles of the feet, the palms of the hands, soft and spacious. The toes, the fingers. Just letting everything settle. And the breath gently coming and going with no sense of control. The natural rhythm, natural flow. In this session we're going to be thinking about the heart center, we're going to be thinking about prana and about spring, about being in the present moment. And our poses will work on the liver and gallbladder meridians. So there's this sense of having a spring clean. We're feeling into the ground beneath you as you slowly sink deeper with every exhalation. Every exhalation, you're leaving a little bit of your day behind. Your muscles and bones, they release and soften, and tension just melts away. And your heart center is beautifully open. Perhaps imagining an emerald green light within the heart center. Just a speckle to start with. Just imagine it glowing in the center of your chest, in this energetic center of your heart, the Anahata chakra. It's almost pulsing with energy, and the pulsing is matching your breath. Without you even trying, just naturally matching the breath. It's becoming brighter and brighter with the breath, growing stronger and stronger. Just imagine it starting as a speck and then gradually becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and just filling the chest with beautiful, healing, opening light. The light of non-judgmental attitude, the light of love, the light of acceptance, the light of joy. Allow this light to continue to grow, to fill your body, your torso, your legs and arms, your head, inside and out. And just be with that beautiful light as I read our first poem of the evening, which is The Gifts of the Fourth Chakra. Wild spirit, I cherished you tender within my halo of prana, careful not to hurt you as I worked to set you free, using hands of peace in harmony with my heart's song. I beheld your fragile form of freedom, lost as your panicked eyes pleaded release. And in those precious and few sacred moments, I felt you relinquish your light, your fight or flight to my mission of mildness. A unifying lesson of love befell us that day as we exchanged gifts. And when again you flew through reflective silvery winds on turquoise wings anew, we elevated in mindful mercy to compassionate heights in revered reverberations, gratified to be reborn in your newfound freedom. Now, taking a few deeper breaths, continuing with the green light if that suits you. And then mentally preparing for movement, knowing that you're going to move soon. And then physically prepare for that, tips of toes, tips of fingers. Perhaps taking the tongue around the mouth. And we're going to navigate to lying on one side. So we're going to take time to do that. So first of all, if you have your legs outstretched, you're drawing them up one at a time to semi-supine. And then we'll bring the knees in towards the chest. So if you have a sandbag on, you'd like to slide that off to the side. And with the knees in towards the chest, let's just have a little movement into the smaller back. So a little rocking side to side or back and forth or round in a circle. And if you're going round in a circle, then a few the other way as well. And then whenever you feel ready to, just rolling gently onto one side with your knees tucked up into the chest and your top hand rests underneath the cheekbone and your bottom arm wraps around the body. So we come to this fetal position for a few moments, just resting there with your breath, your heart centre. This spring prana as you breathe it in, bringing fresh energy. And then here, just gently opening the eyes. So very gently opening the eyes and keeping the gaze perhaps just towards the ground ahead of you and a little unfocused, a little hazy gaze. And then as you're ready, pushing into the hand that's underneath the cheek and just lifting yourself up to sitting to an upright position that's comfortable. And I'll demonstrate our next pose. Okay, so we're going to do a deer pose with a side bend. So I'll just show you first of all, there's lots of options of course. So hopefully you can see I've taken this foot, that's my left foot in this case I think, to my right knee, and then my right leg's going behind me. So I'm in a zigzag position. And then I'm going to place my hand onto the ground. Now we're going to be here for 3 minutes. Do I really want my hand on the ground? That's the first consideration. Or elbow on the ground. And then the side bend is hand to waist or over the head, or a combination of the two, because again, that's a long time to have your arm overhead. So the other thing you can do is you can get your bolster or your cushions, pillows, whatever, and make a platform, and then cunningly drape yourself over it. And then we can have a combination then of hand to waist or arm resting on waist. And then when we feel comfortable, we can maybe go a little deeper. Again, the hand can remain down here if you wish. So you get a nice side bend. Okay, so if you navigate your way there, I'd like us to stretch down the right side first of all, if possible. So the left foot comes to the right knee, and then you have, if you're using a platform, that's to your left. So in this instance, I'm not mirroring. Anyway, it doesn't matter that much. It's not, it's not totally. So if you've got, yes, you're going to mirror me, Phil, are you? Okay. That's it, the other way. So if you've got your right foot out to the side, and then you've got your left elbow could come down onto your platform. Okay, are we all okay? All right, so let's make our way there in whatever manner onto a platform where you're bringing your elbow to the ground. And so you only got a minor stretch down the side first of all, and that's fine because this is just the beginning of the 3 minutes. So then the hand can be on the waist. You may feel comfortable to let go, let the head come down a bit, and then maybe bring the arm over. Perhaps, or just leaving that arm onto the side body. And you can do a mixture of the two. So if that's not comfortable taking the arm over, then maybe just do it for a bit and then bring it down, or maybe not at all. Or if you're monkey arm like me, then you might be quite happy with it overhead. It's up to you, of course. So settle with breath, nice open heart centre. Feeling that stretch down the side body. Just gently easing into that stretch. A gentle stretch. Perhaps feeling the breath moving in the heart centre. Each inhale bringing in fresh prana, and prana comes from our experiences as well, on food, drink. And emotions, so just be kind with your heart centre. Think of love and joy, acceptance. Breathing in those qualities perhaps. And perhaps keeping the green lights of awareness there as well. That lovely emerald green that we associate with the heart centre and with springtime. So just another minute here. You can sink a little deeper, come out a little bit, remain as you are. And then if you've got your arm raised, we'll bring it down to the body. Maybe roll that top shoulder a few times. And then we'll bring the hands to the ground and gently lift our way up to centre. And then choices as to what we do just before we move to the other side. So you can come to staff pose, Dandasana. You could come to a seated child's pose. Whichever one suits you the better. Just to allow yourself to absorb that practice, to bring everything back into alignment. Be with your breath for a moment. And then we'll prepare to go to the other side. So if you're using a platform, you take it to the other side. That's to the right side, and your legs are going to the left side this time. Or the opposite side to whichever way you went last time. And we know that we may be different on this side to the other, that good old mantra, isn't it? But it's one worth repeating all the time because it's easy to forget. And then take your choice as to where you'd like to be. Have you got your elbow on the ground? Are you coming down to a platform? What's this arm like? Is that arm more comfortable resting on the body? Is it more comfortable going overhead? How is it on this side for you? And then once you're settled, come back to your heart centre and the breath. And this is a few lines from his name, Paramahansa Yogananda. So he wrote a book called The Autobiography of a Yogi in 1928. A genuine smile distributes the cosmic current, prana, to every body cell. The happy man is less subject to disease, for happiness actually attracts into the body a greater supply of the universal life energy. So we can get our prana from a smile. So perhaps just having a little softness in the corners of the mouth, a little softness in the corners of the eyes, just as if you were about to burst into a beautiful big smile. The hint of it beginning. Feel your face muscles perhaps softening as you do. And then one more minute here. Sink a little deeper or ease out a little, or remain as you are, just in silence, stillness. And then if you have your arm raised overhead, let's gently bring it down and maybe give that shoulder a few rolls. And then when you feel ready to, we'll take both hands to ground and gently lift our way up. And then the same choices as we had previously. So either coming to staff pose or into seated child's pose, or a little combo of the two, maybe one for a couple of moments and then the other. If you're in staff pose, spacious in the spine, And if you're in child's pose, just being with that breath in that introverted space. Okay, so our next pose is going to be a seated butterfly. So that's what we call it in yin. So it's Baddha Konasana in traditional yoga. So this is where so if I just show you, I've got my feet together, knees out to the sides. I'm quite comfortable with my feet quite close to me. You may be more comfortable with them further away. Now you may like to sit on something to give you the elevation. You may like to place your ankles onto a folded blanket or onto a soft block, because that can be a bit what's it on your ankles. And then you may like to place things underneath your knees. So take your time, particularly if you're hypermobile, things underneath the knees. So take your time. And then the hands can rest. If you're comfortable, they can rest on the legs or they can come down towards the feet. Traditionally, we would wrap them around the toes, but that's not right for everybody. So just make the right choice for you. Okay, so we'll be here for 3 minutes. And settling straight away with your breath, with your heart centre. Softening the corners of the mouth, the corners of the eyes. For many, this is the happiest time of the year as we come out of the darker winter months and come to the lighter days, lighter evenings. And we see all the life beginning in hedgerows, gardens, parks. Bringing its own form of prana. So this is called Prana and it's by Robert Rittel. Prana, cloudy blue, stretches itself with grey-yellow beams, the faint moon in observation, as it seems. Salty fragrance by captured firmament ocean of prana, in living breath of decadent realms, of light by conscious vision. Timeless dreams, condition keeper of wishing, surreal affirmation towards joyous appeal, scoping from the holy nectar in advance, penetrating the subtle immune by dance. Unchangeable seasons in eternal bound testament of loving virtue found, significant in identification, precious model of relation, existence all beyond invisible, correspond frequencies in tune, entities of soul embody to prune, particles of the divine, all personality so small, chained by fears of needs, accumulations of poor deeds. Dharma, prana, karma, happenstance by reason's drama, melodies by heart solution, celestial light conclusion, blessings of evolution. So we have another minute. We'll prepare for movement. If you had your eyes closed, maybe just softly opening them. If you're leaning forward, slightly lifting. And then gently bringing these knees towards each other. And we'll have the same choices as previously. So in Dandasana or into seated child's, whatever you need. But particularly if you were folding forward a bit, just bring those shoulder blades together slightly. Sitting tall. Okay, so just relaxing and looking towards me for a moment. We are going to next do a dragon pose. So let me just go through it's basically a lunge. As we know in Yin, they have all sorts of different names for everything. So as it's done from kneeling, we might like a blanket underneath the knees. And then what we'll do, just don't do it just yet, is we'll bring a foot forward. And then it's up to you if you want a more square shape, then do, or if you want to sink the hips further, then do. Just a little caution for hypermobility there. Knee, don't take it but on the ankles, that's the usual message. Now we're going to be doing this with hands to the thighs, but if you want as an alternative, you could take a couple of supports and have the hands onto those instead. And then the final option is to take a bolster, particularly if this is hypermobile, it's just to keep that knee in the right place so that you don't go too far. Okay, so if you'd like to have your right foot forward first. That's it. Okay. And then just check your ankles in the right place. Take a little time to make sure that back knee is going to be comfortable. Have you got enough padding underneath it? When you've got your hands resting on those thighs, it's quite tempting to push into the hands and have the shoulders up here. So let's just make that a soft touch. That's why if that's happening, you could come down onto blocks so that you keep those shoulders relaxed and the heart centre open. Okay, so you think you all got into position before I stop waffling, so we'll have about 2.5 minutes. So lovely open heart centre. Green emerald light, spring, prana. And these few words, we had them on Saturday at the spring retreat, and they're from Thich Nhat Hanh, which I may have mispronounced. Breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. Breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. So another minute. You can ease out a little if you need to. Just stay as you are. Okay, so first of all we're going to release the hands, bring the fingertips down a little and straighten that front leg and take your hips back. So you come onto the heel of that right leg and just stretch that leg out. And then you can make your way up. Now you have choices. Would you like to do a few rounds of cat? Or just come to lying on your tummy for a moment, or come into child's pose. Or you've still got your knees bent then. That's up to you. So you make a choice that's right for you, where you can just maybe ease out, come back into alignment and absorb. Okay, and then we'll go to the other side. So coming up and bringing that left foot through this time. And then we take our time, checking the knee, checking our comfort with the back knee. Good. Okay. Then this time, just settling with your breath, coming to the heart centre. And just as we've been doing in weekly classes, the 4 parts of the breath, the inhale, pause, the exhale, and the pause. And perhaps within this breath we can find the heart centre, the beautiful colour of green. That pause may be a fleeting moment, or it may be longer, particularly if you enjoy doing the square breath. The in-breath, the prana breath, the out-breath, the apana breath. And just another minute. Ease out if you need to, or remain as you are. And we'll just start to prepare to move. So we bring the weight back, roll onto the heel of that left leg, get a good stretch in the left leg. And then come to cat, or come to dandasana, or child's, or lying on your tummy. There are 2 meanings to the word prana and 2 ways of spelling it. So the one way is with a small p, so with a little p, and that refers to the in-breath. And then the other meaning is with a capital P, and that is our life force. So not only the in-breath, but as we said before, our experiences, the food we eat, anything that we ingest. And as we've heard, a genuine smile distributes this cosmic current prana to every body cell. Prana, universal life energy. Okay, we're going to have a twist next. So the twist is going to be onto something. So onto a pile of cushions, onto a bolster, and we place that away from the body like a, you can see it's that way on. And then they're going to do the deer legs again, and the feet go to the opposite side to where the bolster is. And then we bring the shoulders around, so we're twisting here, and then lowering ourselves down. So we just find if we need some more padding underneath, if you want something underneath your elbows to keep them higher. And your head can be turned to one side if that's more comfortable. So take your time. And then we'll be there for 3 minutes. So with this green in the heart centre, can we also connect to the heart of the earth? Perhaps the earth is breathing the same rhythm as we are. Connecting with the heartbeat of the earth. Each breath that you take in, so is the earth. Each breath you take out, so is the earth. When you find a pause, so does the earth. Breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. So just another minute here. So perhaps just taking a few deeper breaths. Gently preparing yourself for movement. And then when you feel ready to, slowly making your way up. And stretch those legs out. Just let everything come to alignment. And then let's prepare to go to the other side. So we're moving our platform over. We're taking the legs to the other side. And then whenever you feel ready, you're twisting gently around and coming down. And if you're turning your head to one side, it should automatically be the opposite way that you turned it the first time. And find yourself in a comfortable, supported position, using whatever you need underneath elbows or head. Settling with your breath. So this is found on a poetry blog, and it's called Silent Thunder, and the poet names themselves Unseeing Seeker. Silent rumbling thunder, born of bliss, magnetism hums in pranic pathways, ushering love's magic as our heart in joy sways. Silent, rumbling thunder, for our pleasure alone, resound within our form, and we're gripped in rapture in this benign bliss storm. Silent, rumbling thunder, akin to the ocean's waves lapping up the shore. Delight beyond measure begs God for an encore. Silent, rumbling thunder consumes us from within as we become soul's flame, delighting in bliss burn, heart's secret claim to fame. For just another minute here. So then if your eyes are closed, just gently opening. Maybe taking a few deeper breaths, and then as you're ready, gently coming up, slowly, slowly. And then when you are up, stretch those legs out again. And we're going to do Happy baby. Happy baby as our final pose. I had a massage this afternoon, that's my excuse. Everything's gone a bit haywire, gone a bit, oh. So, we know happy baby, don't we? We bring the knees on towards the chest, and you'd have your feet up towards the sky no matter what. And then you can just have a gentle hold behind the thighs. You can take hold of ankles, or you can take hold of the soles of the feet and draw those knees a little closer in towards the armpits. So it's not knees to chest, it's knees to armpits. But whichever one you've chosen, making sure that your shoulders are on the ground, that your neck is long. And just settling in for a couple of minutes. Just a couple of minutes. Be with your breath. Breath moving with the earth. Perhaps linking into the earth energy. The inhale, prana with a little p, and the exhale, the apana. Your pauses in between. Your connection to the ground, to the earth. For just one more minute. So then we'll gently release those legs. You could hug the knees in towards the chest if you like. Bring the feet to the ground. Have a stretch out perhaps in a way that suits you. And then it's time for our final pose, which is of course Shavasana, into relaxation. So if you need to come up to pop clothes on and gather things, and do that very kindly, keep the yin going rather than going into a big yang thing. You may like to go to a wall and take your legs up the wall. You may like to take the legs onto a piece of furniture, a chair or a bed or something. Placing anything underneath the knees that you'd like to do for support if that suits you. Some of you are happier with your legs outstretched along the mat. Placing sandbags or anything heavy underneath the navel if that suits you. Perhaps placing something over the eyes. Taking your time to make sure that you're going to be warm and supported. And as you settle down, let's just scan through the body, and if we find any areas of tension, tightness, holding, directing the breath there, encouraging a release. So tips of toes, the soles of the feet, the tops of the feet, the ankles, the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, the buttocks, pelvic bone, contents of pelvis, small of the back, the belly, everything within the belly, the rib cage, the middle back, and everything in between, in the middle, inside. And the shoulder blades, shoulders, tops of shoulders, backs of shoulders, front of shoulders, collarbones. Tips of fingers and thumbs, the fingers and thumb, palm of the hands, the backs of the hands, the wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, back to those shoulders, neck, sides of the neck, throat, lower jaw, teeth, gums, tongue, lips, upper jaw, ears, cheekbones, temples, nose, tip of your nose, eyes, eyelashes, eyebrows, forehead, scalp, hair, skull, and run that awareness all the way down each little vertebrae, each disc cushioning in between the vertebrae, all the way down to the tailbone. And then with your breath, finding that beautiful emerald green, letting the breath run up the tailbone, up to the crown of the head. Just imagine that energy glowing at the crown of the head in your pulse, and then just gently taking the awareness back down to the tailbone with the exhalation. And perhaps this rhythm of the breath keeps flowing up and down the spine. Beautiful green, glowing in the spine and the supporting muscles and throughout the body, but all the while the main passage of conduit is the spine. The Open Door by Dana Folds. A door opens. Maybe I've been standing here shuffling my weight from foot to foot for decades. Or maybe I only knocked once. In truth, it doesn't matter. A door opens and I walk through without a backward glance. This is it then, the moment of truth in a lifetime of truth. A choice made, a path taken, the gravitational pull of spirit too compelling to ignore any longer. I am received by something far too vast to see. It has roots in antiquity, but speaks clearly in the present tense. Be, the vastness says. Be, without adverbs, descriptors, or qualities. Be so alive that awareness bears itself uncloaked and unadorned. Then go forth to give what you alone can give. Awake to love and suffering, unburdened by the weight of expectations. Go forth to see and be seen, blossoming, always blossoming in your magnificence. Remain as you are if that's where you need to be. If you'd like a longer time of rest. Otherwise, perhaps just taking a few deeper breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, maybe. Be aware of the points of contact between the body and the ground. Spaces between the body and the ground. And when you feel ready to, perhaps taking the tongue around the mouth, the tip of the thumb across tips of fingers, twiddling toes. Being aware of your eye covering, just maybe gently taking the head from side to side. You may like to have a stretch. And if you've got something heavy on your tummy, gently sliding it to one side so that you can eventually, there's no hurry, eventually roll over onto one side. And perhaps that's the opposite side to the way that you rolled at the beginning of our session, if you can indeed remember that far back. As you roll over onto one side, one hand, top hand underneath the cheekbone, bottom hand wraps around, a comforting gesture. And then as you're ready, we can gently open the eyes there. So a nice soft gaze, keeping the gaze along the ground. And then very gently pushing into the hand against the ground and lifting yourself bit by bit. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera again. Okay, let's close our practice with Om Shanti. Om Shanti.